In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article relating to something that makes me sick, but deserves to be shared as much as possible. This is of course relating to the Rotherham Grooming gangs, and one of the victims here who has spoken out in the Daily Mail. It headlines, Rotherham sex abuse victim Sammy Woodhouse says little gangsters are threatening her children after she spoke out over being groomed by paedophiles and giving birth to his child at 15. Rotherham sex abuse survivor Sammy Woodhouse has claimed someone is sending her abusive messages and threatening to harm her children. The mother of two was groomed by child sex gang leader Rashid Hussain in South Yorkshire from the age of 14. She was subjected to unthinkable sex abuse but waived her right to anonymity as a rape victim in 2017 to expose the grooming gang. And for that she has my utmost respect. Of course I have no idea what it's like to experience what she's gone through, but I know it won't be easy to come out and stand there as the face of something that the media and the establishment themselves will try to hide consistently, as I'm sure most of my viewers will know. It continues. The 34-year-old has been pushing for a change in the law after Rotherham Council tried to give Rashid access to her son, who he fathered when he raped her. That's not him asking for access rights or custody, that's the council telling him to go for it. Can you actually fucking believe that shit? It continues, but she now faces further suffering after a local gangster messaged her now 18-year-old son in a bid to get money out of the family. Miss Woodhouse told Mail Online in a statement, one of my sons has been sent a number of threatening messages via Facebook Messenger. The individual responsible for sending them is attempting to extort money from us by threatening my son. She tweeted today, sick and tired of men sending messages to my kids threatening to harm us all. And if we don't meet their demands, they're coming to my home to harm my kids, smash my windows and steal my car because they think they're little gangsters and we're an easy target. Nothing but cowards. And she is right, and the people doing this are absolute scum. And as it says here, South Yorkshire Police have been contacted for further comment. My guessing is they still haven't actually commented on this, and if memory serves, I wouldn't really rely on them, especially when it comes to Rotherham grooming gangs. And there's the tweet itself there, what we've just read out, and her just as a kid there when she's give birth to this sick fucker's child. The article continues, Hussain 43, the ringleader of the notorious grooming gang, was not named on Mrs Woodhouse's son's birth certificate, and had no parental responsibility for the child, who was born after his mother was raped, aged just 15. Which goes to show you just how sick this fucker is. And there they have a picture of the sick cunt there in a wheelchair. Fucking disgusts me. He is serving 35 years in prison for multiple rape offences against 9 victims. How is 9 victims only worth 35 years? What the fuck is going on with that? The guy's raped 9 different people, some as young as 11 it says there. Surely he should be getting life in prison for that. Anywhere else in the world you would expect life in prison for such a thing. Life in prison should be mandatory for even one. It says he was contacted last year by officials from Rotherham Council, who said he had a right to see the child. It's incredible. Why the fuck would Rotherham Council do that? I mean, what about care for the victims? What about care for the child? Let's let this sick bastard see the child that he fathered with a girl he raped who was underage, and he'd likely been doing for time before then. It boggles the mind, or it would boggle the mind if you hadn't heard about all this shit before. But it's still shocking either way. Other survivors of the grooming gang branded the South Yorkshire Council's actions disgusting. Well, that's a nice way of putting it. I don't know what more they could do to slap the victims in the face, if I'm honest with you. More than 120 MPs have now called for an urgent inquiry into the way the family courts in England and Wales treat victims of domestic abuse or rape and their children. I think these 120 MPs need to be calling on this council to find out why the fuck they're doing what they're doing. To say that this guy should be seeing this child is incredible. And it's not beyond the realms of possibility that them doing this has spurred on the person messaging this woman and her child. Sammy Woodhouse grew up in Rotherham and was groomed by child sex gang leader Hussain when she was 14 years old. So this is a sex gang leader, this is not just one of the pack. This is a guy who's actually leading them, and you got the fucking shitweasels at Rotherham Council saying he has the right to see the child. Oh, it's infuriating. She was subjected to horrendous abuse, including rape and assaults, and Hussein also coerced her by threatening to kill her family. He also forced her to rob a post office aged 15, and when police raided Hussein's home later that year, they found her in bed with him, but failed to arrest him, and charged her with possessing a baton. What the actual fuck is going on there? No wonder why you can't get a comment from the Yorkshire Police Service then. You caught a 15-year-old girl in bed with a middle-aged man and you didn't do nothing. It is absolutely amazing. In my opinion, anyone involved with the police force at that time should be instantly sacked. That is disgraceful. After years of abuse, she approached the Times anonymously with her claims, leading to the J inquiry, which exposed the Rotherham gang and led to the discovery of more than 1,000 victims between 1997 and 2013. Hussein was eventually jailed for only 35 years. I still can't believe he only got 35 years as the ringleader or one of the ringleaders. Miss Woodhouse waived her anonymity on the BBC in 2017. She has been leading campaigns to change the laws around child sex abuse victims, particularly supporting a bill named after her, Sammy's Law, that would pardon child sex abuse victims who are coerced into committing crimes. And the article talks about here how Sammy Woodhouse has fought to protect others from enduring abuse. Sammy Woodhouse grew up in Rotherham and was groomed by child sex gang leader, this scummy bastard, when she was 14 years old. And the scumbag also coerced her by threatening to kill her family, as we've already heard. It says here, the scumbag also forced her to fight another girl a few months later. This is after, of course, the situation with the police, which I'm still disgusted about, for which Miss Woodhouse was later charged with assault. She missed much of her education and worked as a stripper and model. She eventually had a child by Hussein, but fled to keep him away from his family. And it looks like they're just repeating part of the article over there, so we're not going to bother reading through that bit. The bill was supported by Vera Braid, the Northumbria Police and Crime Commissioner, by Alan Billings, the South Yorkshire Police and Crime Commissioner, by Anne Longfield, the Children's Commissioner for England, and by Simon Bailey, the Chief Constable of the Norfolk Constabulary, among several other Chief Constables and Crime Commissioners. Yeah, but my question is, why didn't they all do something about it at the fucking time? It's one thing supporting a bill after the fact, but I'm sure the old Bill knew about most of this when it was going on. Last year, she slammed Rotherham Council for trying to help Hussein get in contact with the son he fathered by rape. And I'm sorry, you shouldn't just be slamming them, they should all be sacked. Never mind slammed, they should all lose their jobs for doing something so disgusting and hurtful to a victim of rape. It's absolutely incredible. She said the council should have opposed taking the step to give Hussein access as she fights for a change in the law to deny rapists access to children they have fathered in sickening attacks. I mean, that should just be a given. You shouldn't have to be fighting to change that law. That law should already exist. Pretty fucking obvious, really, ain't it? They should have fought for that child, she said. What they've done is hand my son over on a plate to a rapist. Miss Woodhouse conducts speaking events at schools and elsewhere, explaining to teenagers, the police, and social workers how to recognise that someone is being groomed. She has also just wrote a book, Just a Child, Britain's biggest child abuse scandal exposed, which was released in 2018. I might have to actually check that out and give it a read. If you haven't, it might be a worthwhile read, considering I'm sure it will give great insights into the actual situation that occurred. In November 2018, over the first 3 days, more than 300,000 people signed a petition by Woodhouse and Labour MP Louise Hay, which called for the amendment of the Children Act 1989 to ban any male with a child conceived by rape from applying for access rights. It should just say any person, but I do understand why it says man there. But this article just goes to show the disgusting behaviour that Rotherham Council are getting up to, trying to give this dirty convicted rapist and head of a grooming gang access to this woman's child, bearing in mind he raped her when she was a child and got her pregnant, among all the other things that he has been convicted of doing, including the 10 or 11 other victims that he was convicted of, and the God knows how many that he wasn't convicted for. I still find it hard to believe that the council have actually tried to give this dirty rapist scumbag access to the child. It really is bad, But should I be that shocked considering what we saw in the article relating to the police finding a 15-year-old girl in bed with a middle-aged man and not arresting him? It makes me sick to my stomach, it really does. And just goes to show how fucked up this country has actually become. Remember, in my opinion, I think this is an important story, so share it around so everyone can see it. Now, before I go, I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with a notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I'll see you all in the next one.
And Corbyn neutral by Christmas.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going and we are glad to be going. We're off.
Ramon! Ramon!